Hello accounting superstars, welcome back to the Superstar channel. We're going to learn some accounting here. Today we're going to apply our knowledge. So here we go folks. What I've got for us, I have Fred's Snowblower Service. It's a business that is just starting out here in Colorado, and I have our accounting equation all laid out. On the left hand side I have some transactions, and over here on the right hand side I'm going to label what happens to the equity. You'll see what's going on here in a minute. So let's get started folks. So here's what we have. Let's say Fred wants to invest $10,000 into his business. Fred has this money in his savings account and he's been waiting to use it to start this business. So let's put down $10,000. Now we have to make this accounting equation balance. Now Fred doesn't owe this $10,000 to anyone. It's Fred's money and he's putting it in the business. So we're going to put this under the equity column. So our accounting equation balances. I've got $10,000 on the left, $10,000 on the right, and I'm going to give it a label. I'm going to call it investment. In future lessons, you'll see why this is important. Fred is investing money into the business. Now, Fred knows that $10,000 is not enough money to get this business going, so he goes down to his local bank, gets a loan for $20,000. Fred owes this money to the bank. He'll have to repay it, so it's a liability. It's a bill that he's going to owe. So I'm putting right under here, under liabilities. Now check this out, the accounting equation still balances. I've got $20,000 on the left, $20,000 on the right, all's good, and our totals balance too. $30,000 on the left, the 20 and the 10 add up to $30,000, so we're good. Now Fred gets to work right away and a customer walks in the door and says, hey, can you fix my snowblower? And maybe the snowblower needs a new engine or something. So Fred performs the work, he gets the job done, and Fred collects $500 for doing the job. $500. Fred doesn't owe this money to anyone. It's not a liability, but rather it's equity. That money belongs to Fred. And so I'm going to give it a label. In a future video, I'll explain what these labels are all about, so don't worry about them so much right now. The next transaction, Fred has to pay a worker, and this worker has earned $200. So this worker is getting paid $200 for working there at Fred's Snowblower Service, and Fred pays the money out, so I'm going to put a negative $200. The reason why I'm putting a negative $200 is Fred is paying out the cash. His assets are being reduced. And our accounting equation has got to balance. The left side's got to equal the right side. And now Fred does not owe this money any longer. He paid the worker. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it under equity here, and I'm going to put it as a negative $200. How many of you folks knew that it should be a negative $200, not just simply $200? So our accounting equation balances, negative 200 on the left, negative 200 on the right, things are good, and if we add up the totals, they balance also. I'm going to label this as expense. This is an expense, and in a later video, I'll explain more about it. The next transaction, Fred's getting a little hungry, it's lunchtime, and so he decides to go down to the local pizza place and buy some pizza. So Fred pays $12 for that pizza. So I have to put it as a minus sign here. It's a minus 12. Fred is using up his assets. Now Fred doesn't owe anybody this money, this $12. He's paying it to the pizza place. The only other place for this to go is in equity, and it's got to be a negative $12 because we have to keep this accounting equation in balance. A negative 12 on the left, a negative 12 on the right. And what we're going to do is we're going to call this a withdraw. Fred is taking money out of his business for personal reasons. And then finally, the last transaction, Fred pays back some of the loan. He's not going to pay it all back. But let's say he pays back $100 on this loan. So I'm going to put a minus 100 And I need a minus 100 on the other side too. So let's reduce the liability by 100, minus 100. And of course, I'm not taking into consideration interest or anything like that. We're trying to keep this example easy. I don't need an explanation over here. I'm only writing explanations when I do something to the equity. And like I've mentioned twice before, I'll explain all that in a future video. These are some example transactions, and if you do the math, you can see that the left-hand side equals the right-hand side. 30,188 on the left, 19,900 plus 10,288 on the right. If you were to add this all up, I think you would find that it all balances out. So folks, I hope you enjoyed this introduction into the accounting equation and how to use it. If you understand how this works, you're well on your way to learning accounting. If you like this video, hit the like button, subscribe. Let me know that you like this video and I'll make you some more. Talk to you later. Over and out.